Today I'm gonna tell you about a great filmmaking kit with a crop sensor Sony camera that covers a lot of different tasks. What's good guys, my name is Oleg Nikitin and you're watching No Limits On channel. So this kit is going to be covering a lot of different tasks, and I would buy this kit myself if I were to get rid of all of my gear right now and if I had a certain amount of cash to buy a crop sensor Sony camera with all of those accessories, lenses, monitors and so on. So I've reviewed most of the gear that I'm going to be showing to you guys, but as a little disclaimer I have to tell you guys that you don't have to purchase exactly the same gear. It's just more or less well-rounded kit that can cover a lot of needs. Feel free to write down in the comment section below different microphones, lenses, maybe Sony bodies, etc. We'll get into the comment section after watching this video and discuss it a lot. Also guys, I tried to make this kit as budget as possible, but still retaining the greatest image quality that you can get. So let's start off with the cameras. In my opinion, if you are planning to do both photos and videos, the best camera on the market in the APS-C department is the Sony a6700. It takes super nice photos and also is great for video because we have 4:2 10-bit, 4K 60, 4K 50, and you can use this camera for video 100%. It does have some drawbacks like one SD card and mini HDMI port, so if you are considering the super professional crop camera, you can use the Sony FX30, which is filming me right now. It has dual card slots and also it has the full-size HDMI as well as the built-in cooling fan. But also guys, it is a bit more expensive and for some people it will be a decisive factor, I mean the price. Both cameras share the same sensor and exactly the same image quality, and for the Sony a6700 I would highly recommend purchasing an external fan like this one from Ulanzi. It's super cheap, like 30 bucks, but you'll be able to record for much longer with the a6700. As for the lenses, we have three main options. The first one is the Sigma 18-50 f2.8 lens. It's the super tiny versatile zoom lens, and I do recommend having a one versatile zoom lens and also one or two fixed lenses or prime lenses that have wide aperture like f1.8, f1.4 or even f1.2 like I'm filming with right now with the Viltrox. We'll talk about it in a second. So this Sigma lens 18-50 is super compact. It's really easy to bring all the time with you to your traveling or wherever you go. So also you have the Tamron 17-70 lens with a built-in vibration control or built-in stabilization, but I'm not satisfied with the results of the stabilization of this lens. It works terribly with the Sony FX30 at least, so I would not suggest using this lens for most of the people because of the size, the weight, and also the absence of good stabilization, no matter it does have it built in. And also guys, keep in mind that this Tamron lens has 20mm extra on the wide end, I mean on the tight end, and a little bit on the wide end, so it's an equivalent of 25-105 lens in full frame equivalent. But also guys, most of you will be more than fine with the 18-50 and a tiny lens from Sigma, which also doubles as a macro lens. It has great minimum focus and distance. And also guys, you can use the 18-105 f4 OSS Sony lens, which is great for covering the events, which is great for a lot of stuff. But if you don't have problems with using it in dimly lit conditions, if you use external lights all the time, if you film outdoors a lot or in the brightly lit venues, you'll be more than fine, and the stabilization in that lens works much better than on the Sigma and on the Tamron, because with native Sony lenses you do get better stabilization results. I've tested it a lot of times guys on my channel. You can watch my previous reviews and comparisons of different lenses and you'll find those tests right there. But guys, you would say that we have the 16-55 f2.8 Sony lens, which is a native lens. It will have good stabilization with the IBIS system and so on and so forth. But guys, this lens is so expensive. It's $1,400. It's more expensive than my full frame lens, which is right here, 20-70 f4G lens. And it simply destroys the purpose of using the crop sensor cameras for the value proposition, because your crop sensor camera with that Sony lens, the native lens 16-55 f2.8, gets as expensive as a full frame camera like the Sony ZV-E1 with this 20-70 f4 lens. So to me, it's a no-go because of the value. It's too expensive for a crop sensor lens. The next lens that I can highly recommend for crop sensor cameras, and I do consider this lens to be the best bang for buck for crop sensor Sony camera, this is the Viltrox 27mm f1.2 lens, which is filming me right now at f1.2. It is very sharp wide open, it has minimum chromatic aberrations, it has good contrast, you can get outstanding low light performance, and it's an equivalent of about 40mm lens and full frame equivalent, and you'll get your bokeh and background blur as an f1.8 lens, and you do get a lot of background separation with this lens. It's a bit on the bulky side and it does have pretty substantial focus breathing, but for talking head shots, for creative shots where you don't rack your focus from minimum focus and distance to infinity, this won't be a big issue. And I do think that for this money, this amount of cash, $550, it's the best lens for APS-C cameras as for now. Next, we have two lenses and you need to decide which one is more preferable to you. So the first one is the Viltrox 13mm f1.4. It's an equivalent of 20mm in full frame equivalent, and it's super fast and really sharp, even wide open. You get really good background separation, even if you film like I don't know, a chest portrait or even a full height portrait, you still get some background blur on a crop sensor camera with f1.4. So this lens is amazing. You can also consider the Sony 11mm f1.8 or the Sony 15mm f1.4G, but those are a bit more expensive, and bang for the buck, the Viltrox lens is amazing. I use this all the time with my Sony FX30 on a tiny gimbal, something like this one. So the whole package is a bit more than a kilogram, like 1.5 kilograms, and it's really easy to carry around and to film during the events or the weddings. So this lens is a must if you do shoot real estate, if you do shoot a lot of wide angle shots, or if you vlog a lot. And if your zoom lens has only 18mm, like 18-105 or 18-50, because it's an equivalent of 28mm on full frame, so this 20mm equivalent lens from Viltrox will be really handy. But on the other side, if you don't use your wide-angle lenses at all and you need title lens, a telephoto lens, the best one on the market as for now is Viltrox 75mm f1.2 lens, which is also from the Pro lineup from the Viltrox. You will get super sharp images even wide open at f1.2, great background separation, it's an equivalent of about 113mm in terms of focal length, and about f1.8 in terms of the background separation and background blur, but you still get f1.2 light transmission, which is nice for low light scenarios. So if you do consider filming a lot of talking head shots or simply more creative shots with tons of bokeh, the Viltrox 75mm f1.2 is a great solution. The next very important part of your filmmaking kit is a good ND filter. So I'm right now using the Haida VND 2-in-1 polarizing filter and 3 to 7 stops of VND. This filter doesn't have a color cast, it's super versatile, it's more than fine to use with f1.2 lenses outdoors with 7 stops of ND. You can dial in a bit shorter shutter speed, but all in all guys, this filter is the best on the market bang for buck that I've ever reviewed and used. Or you can consider Nisi filters as well. So I would recommend picking a 77mm filter because the Viltrox 75mm f1.2 has 77mm filter threads, and you can buy some step down rings or step up rings, pretty cheap ones, and simply screw onto different lenses and use only one filter. For the beginners, it's more than fine. The next item is HoloLens Lark Max microphones. I do use Rode Wireless Pro mics, but they are $400, whereas the HoloLens is $250, and for most of you guys, you'll be more than fine with HoloLens Lark Max mics. It has 2 transmitters, 1 receiver, built-in recording, noise cancellation function, long battery life, great kit, charging case, and so on and so forth. And for $250, it's a great solution. It's even better than the DJI mic first generation in my opinion. So for most of you guys who film interviews or different weddings, events, those mics would be really nice because you have internal backup, because you have really nice sound quality as well. Highly recommend it. The next very important item is the on-camera monitor, guys. I do say that you need an external monitor, a big one, to properly view your image, to set the exposure, white balance, and so on and so forth. Because on this tiny 3-inch screen on the camera, you won't be properly seeing and viewing your images. So right here, I have the Axum Simo 4K. It's the device that transforms your iPhone 15 Pro Max, for example, into an on-camera monitor. It has a pretty lightweight and small phone holder. Also, you need an NPF battery. You can buy those for really cheap and you can actually use this device, your iPhone, as a great, high quality, high contrast, high brightness on-camera monitor with a lot of great features. I've reviewed this on my channel, as you can see right now in the B-roll. And it is a super versatile solution because it's very compact, your phone is always with you, and it's more than fine for the beginners to have this type of monitor. It's also not that expensive, it's $180, and it does record 4K signal that can be used as a backup, 4K 30, up to 4K 30. But if you don't have your iPhone 15 Pro Max or a big screen phone or whatever, or you need to use your phone while shooting, I can recommend a different external monitor, which is the Gimbal M5. In my opinion, this is the best bang for buck monitor, also around $170, $180, and it has good image quality, also really nice features. It's really bright as well, 1000 nits of brightness, has great battery life, and so on and so forth. So I can highly recommend both of those systems, the Xun and the Gimbal. The next very important item is the SD card, and I highly recommend the Lexar V60 or 1667X SD card. This is a fast SD card. It allows you to record even 4K 100 and 120 frames per second in XAVC-S or XAVC-HS codecs. It has a really fast speed of 250 megabytes per second. Also, they didn't fail me once, and I have about 6 of those laying around. I use 4 by myself, and also 2 are used by my wife, and I had 0 issues with those, and they are super affordable, $120 for 256 gigs cards from Lexar. Highly recommend those. Also guys, don't forget to buy at least one original Sony FZ100 battery. Don't buy the third-party batteries because you never know when it's going to fail you, because you can have 20% of battery life left, but suddenly your camera simply shuts off and you lose a really important shot. Also, when you update the firmware, third-party batteries could be not supported anymore, so I highly recommend buying at least one original Sony battery to be calm and ready. 2 batteries is more than fine to me because I mostly charge my camera while I'm using it with a power bank, but you can also charge your battery separately with a charger, with a Sony charger. You can buy it as well. It's a nice addition. Also guys, for this versatile kit, I can highly recommend a compact gimbal. You don't need a huge gimbal like Ronin S or RS2, RS3 for your mirrorless crop sensor camera, and this type of gimbal would be more than more than fine, guys. This is the Moza Aircross S, and it can handle my Sony FX30 and Viltrox 13mm, which is not the lightest lens in the world, but it's not perfect in terms of the stabilization quality. I would highly recommend using a Scorp Mini 2 by Feutech. It's a bit bigger, a bit bulkier, but it has much better stabilization quality, great battery life, built-in AI tracking. You can show it this sign, it'll track you as well, and it can handle a bigger setup like Sony FX30 with the Tamron 17-70 would be on the edge of being fine, but it could handle this setup as well. So you can use this setup to film real estate, as well as weddings, as well as events, as well as dancing videos and so on. So having a gimbal at your kit is a nice idea. And the next item is a tripod. At first, you might need a pretty simple tripod like this Ulanzi Ombra Ying tripod for 70 bucks. It can get pretty high, it has a ball head, it's built really nicely, pretty sturdy, nothing too crazy. But if you film a lot of talking head shots like I do right now, or if you film interviews, or if you film the kind words from the directors of different companies, etc., etc., you might need a good tripod for simply good and static shots, and this tripod from Ulanzi will be more than fine. If you need better tripods with fluid heads, you know what you need, guys. So guys, to conclude, what you can film with this kit. Basically, most of the things that I film. You can film an interview, you can film a wedding if you use the FX30 with a redundant backup, or if you use A6700 with a fan and also with your iPhone and XeonCinema 4K as a backup recording. Also, you can film an event, reportage style shoot, you can film different dances with your gimbal, real estate, you can film, I don't know, basically whatever, guys, even some advertisement because your Viltrox 27 f1.2 gives you a full frame look. You can film commercials, whatever, guys, like items for marketplaces, a lot of things. Basically, if I had this kit, I would be more than happy and I could use it on a professional basis all the time. So guys, please feel free to add something in the comment section below about the lenses, the mics, the cameras, the monitors, or whatsoever, please feel free to go there and write all of your thoughts. If you did enjoy this video, please smash the like and subscribe buttons and hit the notifications bell. And right here I have a video about the best APS-C lenses for Sony cameras. See you in that one, guys. Take care. Bye.